Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Elle Said What. Yesterday, jury selection began in the Charlie Adelson conspiracy to commit murder and murder trial in Tallahassee, Florida, where Charlie Adelson is pled not guilty. Out of the pool of about 100 jurors, there are about 40 left in the pool. That's as of yesterday. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Katie Magbanua. Now, when this murder plot, according to the state, dates back to 2014, and Dan Markle, a law professor at FSU, was killed in his driveway, and two men were charged originally with the murder of Dan Markle, Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera. Now, shortly after Luis Rivera's arrest, Luis flipped and became a witness for the state against his friend Sigfredo Garcia. Sigfredo Garcia, Katie's ex-boyfriend, took it to trial. Sigfredo maintained his innocence, and his friend Luis Rivera testified against him, and Garcia was eventually found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder and murder. Katie, the state claims, is the go-between. Katie is dating Charlie Adelson, and Dan Markle is Charlie Adelson's ex-brother-in-law. And Dan's sister, Wendy, who was married to the victim, Dan's sister, Wendy, wanted to move from Tallahassee back with her family, her parents and her brother with the two children, to Miami. And a court denied Wendy being able to take the children from Tallahassee back to Miami. And the state believes that that's when a murder plot against Dan Markle began in earnest. Katie goes on trial for conspiracy to commit murder, and think what you will about Katie Magbanua, but she took the stand and she had an answer for everything. And she was convincing enough to where she hung that jury 10-2. Well, with a hung jury and having a defendant like Katie who took the stand, if the state feels like it has a strong case, which it did in this case, then the state gets a second bite at the apple. What are the odds that Katie will be able to remember everything that she said on the stand the first time, and that the state won't be able to get past it? Well, Katie was eventually convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Now, Katie Magbanua has decided to cooperate with the state, like Luis Rivera did against her and her ex-boyfriend, Sigfredo. And Katie, she's convincing. She hung the first jury, right? And Katie received, according to the state and according to Luis Rivera, a lot of money, including probably payment for her defense attorneys, in exchange for hiring her ex-boyfriend, Sigfredo Garcia. And according to Luis Rivera, Sigfredo Garcia hired him. So the two of them, they go to Tallahassee, they commit the murder, and Luis Rivera testifies that the next day that the two of them, Luis and Garcia, meet up with Katie, and that Garcia receives $47,000, Luis Rivera receives $37,000, and Katie, I quote, received the rest, end quote. So Luis's deal with the state dropped the first-degree murder charge, the state dropped the conspiracy to commit murder charge, solicitation, and firearms charges. First-degree murder could get you life in prison. Conspiracy can get you what amounts to a life sentence in prison. So in exchange for his testimony, Luis Rivera is to serve 19 years in prison. That is a lot less than 30 years, than the rest of his life. So I don't know if Luis will be called in the case against Charlie Adelson, because Luis Rivera testified that, to his knowledge, Sigfredo Garcia did not ever have contact with Charlie Adelson or anyone in the Adelson family. So I don't see how Luis would have knowledge of anything said between Katie and Charlie Adelson firsthand. right? He might have secondhand knowledge, which is hearsay, but I don't see how Luis would have firsthand knowledge. But Katie hung her first jury. Now, according to Katie, she's telling the truth. She has everything to lose. She's a mother. She has children with Sigfredo Garcia. They basically orphaned their children with this alleged murder plot. It's not alleged with Katie. She's been found guilty. So Charlie Adelson, I believe, will say that all of the money and all of the gifts that he gave Katie, plus the job at his family's dental office, is because he's generous to all of his girlfriends. So Charlie's moved on. He has a child. Katie's in prison. Charlie's sister, Wendy Adelson, says she met Katie Magbanua twice and that the relationship didn't seem serious to her. Will Charlie claim that Katie hired her ex-boyfriend without his knowledge because she wanted to ingratiate herself to the Adelson family? Will he claim that what the gifts that he gave her are no different or no greater than gifts that he would give any girlfriend? So leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Charlie Adelson versus his ex-girlfriend, Katie Magbanua. She is on the witness list, guys. So thanks for listening. Hit the like button for me. And if you want to keep up with the trial, subscribe. Turn on the notification button.